Um, I want to talk about a few things tonight. I don't know what you guys want to have a conversation about, but I do have one video that I'm personally interested in talking about, and I will also be lifting a massive amount of conversation surrounding this. There's going to be an ad, and I don't want to play the ad, so let's do that. Get it to the skip section. So we're going to be talking about Black Ops 7. Boo! I know. Don't worry, I'm right next to you guys when it comes to Black Ops 7 right now. Full trust. I don't want to play that game. Like, seriously. Black Ops 6 was one of the most amazing games that I've ever played. I'm quickly going to switch us over to the reaction Rome so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I want to talk about this. Black Ops 6 Game Ranks this video. What they're talking about, what's wrong with Black Ops 7? Why exactly Black Ops 7 is what Black Ops 7 is. And doesn't take much. I'm gonna be very honest to explain that in a sense. There's a fucking giant in the end. What the hell? It's not that type of game. It's a fighter game. It's a shooter game. My bad. All right, guys, let's get into the video. Oh, my bad.
In 2025, right? The brand, it's so omnipresent and seemingly eternal. It's been on a yearly release schedule since I believe 2005's original Call of Duty 2. So that's like 20 non-stop years of answering the call. If you're at all plugged into the mainstream games industry and you follow this news, then you know it's an unavoidable topic of discussion. And
absolutely,
you know, the franchise's sales domination has been so really complete and thorough that it's hard to imagine a world where Call of Duty isn't number one.
Example. Yes, that is really good examples that they're bringing into the table. I do agree. I don't see Call of Duty being quote unquote dead. I think the franchise is too big to die at this point, at least. At least it'll always have a following of some sort. So I do believe that when it boils down to it, at the end of the day, the conversation is going to be, I don't think so. I don't think it's going to end. I don't think it's going to die.
It's always on the game charts, right up there with the never-ending Grand Theft Auto 5. These games are also an anomaly in the industry.
Absolutely.
Call of Duty's only dipping its toes in the live service model with the Warzone mode, but the games themselves have stubbornly stuck to that full-price yearly release model.
Which is crazy.
Almost no other franchise has been able to accomplish outside of yearly sports game releases. But what's interesting about these games is that there is still some crossover.
What is that aim?
Hardcore gaming demographic. You know, it's not something that the core gaming audience ignores. When a game like NBA 2K comes out and has like a bunch of predatory microtransactions and it's just a mess with bad game modes, lacking any innovation or new ideas, usually, you know, the larger gaming community just kind of shrugs and doesn't care. But when a Call of Duty game is subpar, everyone stands up and takes notice. It's especially noticeable because otherwise, this is a series that used to be known for its quality, man. The early days, you had to be there before like the Call of Duty bros took over. Look, you know, for at least a little while, the games were remarkably consistent given the yearly schedule. But in 2025, that consistency seems like it's out the window, and it might have been for a while. First, it was 2023's Modern Warfare 3, with its clearly half-baked campaign that just...
Agree. It's a good start. Like, seriously, I don't even want to like go and say anything negative or bad about it. He's right. He is on point. Call of Duty has been doing this cycle for superbly long. They've been fighting this fight for excruciatingly long. And I actually think the biggest issue starting it off is that they started to lack innovation. They went back to franchises that they thought, okay, these franchises made the series, which most gaming companies can do and get away with it. Specifically, smaller companies, you can easily do that. You can say, like, what I'll do is I'll go back. But this is one of those crazy things. The one company that I think should go back and should do something is not doing that. And this company should not be doing this, and they're doing that. Doing remasters, it's a good idea. They made Call of Duty Modern Warfare. which was the original Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare. They remastered that. Prized possession. It was awesome. They need to think of something like that again to maybe return some stuff, but I don't think it's going to save it.
Really felt slapped together with the multiplayer offerings that just kind of improved in Modern Warfare 2 but did little else, and its terrible and unnecessary zombies mode. I did the before for this game, and it kind of bummed me out. Look, we've had Call of Duty games with issues before, but this was clearly a game born out of seemingly development or corporate dysfunction and corporate greed on Activision's part. There are rumors suggesting that what eventually became Modern Warfare 3 was originally designed as a paid expansion for Modern Warfare 2, like DLC. But Activision bumped the game up to a full paid release and tried to add more to it last minute and gave the developers less than a year to really slap together what they had to make this happen. That's not 100% confirmed that it's all true. It's a lot of hearsay, but it does make perfect sense because that game really did feel stitched together. It was rough. It felt like it was cobbled together from disparate elements in a very desperate attempt to just...
It wasn't that good. I agree.
Get it out the door
100%.
in some kind of complete state. They have to hit that yearly goal every year, no matter what. There was just a noticeable stink on that one. Now, Black Ops 6 has some problems.
I really like Black Ops 6.
But it was way more of a return to form for the series. It felt
good. It was a good fix.
If support mostly dried up around seasons 3 and 4 on the multiplayer, as focus shifted to, I guess, finalizing what will be Black Ops 7. But Black Ops 6 had a really decent campaign, at the very least. But the game's post-launch support left fans feeling more neglected. They were more focused on inserting as many crossovers and brand synergies as possible over actually making the game better. So the 1-2 punch of Modern Warfare 3 and the Black Ops multiplayer stuff made it so fan opinions on the series were already pretty low. And then Activision Blizzard got hit with the double whammy of an actually good Battlefield game releasing not too long ago with Battlefield 6 and something new and exciting with Arc Raiders. That's the environment that Call of Duty...
Hey guys, just for interest's sake, what do you guys think about Arc Raiders? I'm considering playing it. I think it's a little bit too much active right now, but I really liked the game when I did the beta testing. I didn't do a video on it because computer issues at that point, but it's a very good game. I enjoyed the beta, the open beta test. I really enjoyed that.
Black Ops 7 launched into, and if they had any hope of winning back fan support, then the game was going to have to be more than just another number. It needed to be more. It needed to be better, and to actually address people's problems with how Black Ops 6 rolled out. It couldn't just be good enough with actual competition out there. This game couldn't just get by on goodwill anymore. So if you've been paying attention, Black Ops 7 launched on November 14th, and the reception hasn't really been great, at least in the hardcore crowd. If you just look at critical reviews, you might be led to believe that it's actually okay. The game's Metacritic is currently hovering around a respectable 83 from 18 review outlets, but the user scores and just looking at message boards and social media, it paints a very different picture. Now, at the time of
the reason for that is users are over the ship.
Of us making this video,
my
the
opinion.
Metacritic user score for the game is sitting at a score of 1.7 out of 10, which is even worse than 2023's Modern Warfare 3, which scored 0.5 higher at 2.3 out of 10.
That's
is that an extreme number? Maybe to a point, but I still think it's worth noting. In terms of sales, there are also signs pointing to the game underperforming. It's early. We don't know yet for sure. This is Call of Duty, so it's inevitably still going to sell well, regardless of perceived quality. It's something we've seen time and time again. When everyone is hating on a game, but then it's revealed that it inexplicably broke all series sales records anyway. That's happened before. And honestly, there are so many people out there that don't read articles. They don't look at video game memes. They don't listen to people like us talking on the internet. They just see a new Call of Duty on the shelf. They buy them every year, and they go in. The Call of Duty train seems to just kind of roll on regardless of, players like us complaining, but that might not actually be the case as much this time around. We're not saying that the game is set to be some kind of massive sales failure because we're just not at that point yet. It's too early to call any of these numbers definitive, and you always have to take into account that the game is now a day one Game Pass game, so pure sales figures aren't the only metric this series is graded on anymore. So just take all these facts and figures we managed to dig up with a grain of salt. There's a lot of signs that Black Ops 7 may actually be underperforming for the series again, but we just don't have all the facts yet to make a definitive statement one way or another. Take, for example, the Steam concurrent players. This is one of those things that gets dismissed the quickest when it comes to these conversations.
No.
I get it, but there is something interesting there. What we've seen is that Black Ops 7's all-time peak player count on Steam so far is 100,332, which sounds low for a massively popular series, but keep in mind that these games have never had a huge presence on Steam. What's telling is if you compare that number to the highest concurrent player counts of Black Ops 6, which got up to around 315,000.
Exactly.
Imagine being able.
Seriously. Exactly. You guys are 100% right on that one. I agree 1,000,000,000%. That's how it works. All right, let me get
the amount of people playing this year is almost
ridiculous.
2/3 less than last year on Steam. Both games were free on Game Pass at that point, so that didn't change anything. So it appears to be that player interest in the game may just be lower in general.
Exactly.
On consoles, the situation appears more like what you'd expect. Black Ops 7 is the highest grossing game on the PlayStation Store, as you'd expect, of course, but if you check the Microsoft Store, then things get a little more interesting. If you sort...
And that's the weird part, is that on the Microsoft Store, quote-unquote owners, this is going
by top paid games, then Black Ops 7 isn't the #1 selling game. It's not the second or the third or the fourth or even the 10th highest ranked game on the list. You actually have to scroll down to find it at number 12. And that's not even the core game. It's a Vault Edition upgrade. The actual game is all the way down at number 15. In some ways, this isn't entirely unexpected because the main game is available as part of Game Pass. So very few people are going to actually buy it on the Xbox consoles, but that's still much further down on the list than...
Yes, but no. Yes, but no. That's a fair point. I just don't necessarily think that that's the main reason.
We expected, you know? You know what games are at the top? Arc Raiders at number 1 and Battlefield 6 at number 2. Again, let me repeat, none of this means that Black Ops 7 is going to be a failure, and I don't think it's going to take one game to be like the end of Call of Duty as a franchise. But the dip could be significant enough that it'll maybe force Microsoft and Activision to reconsider the series' future and how they approach it. You have to keep in mind that this series now is a big part of the Xbox division's portfolio at this point. They bought Activision Blizzard for Call of Duty mostly, and it's a key part of their current shift in strategy by, I guess, fully committing to a multi-platform release strategy. You know, Microsoft and Xbox spent $75.4 billion to acquire Activision. And what is Activision's most popular franchise? Again, Call of Duty. And they need this series to be successful to justify the amount of cash they spent on it. So Call of Duty can't just become like a regular old series, like a stalwart that just moves along. It needs to continue to be the biggest game ever for years and years to come. And that's what makes Black Ops 7's current status so interesting. The game is being promoted as the biggest Call of Duty in history. The other day I was in Times Square and I saw giant billboards everywhere, more than usual for a Call of Duty. And to their credit, there is a lot of video game here in this package, but if anything, it's even more of a cut-up collection of resources.
That could still be a saving grace. Zombies, for sure.
Than even Modern Warfare 3. The campaign is especially guilty of this, being made up of mostly slightly altered multiplayer maps in a lot of sections, and half the game taking place in the Avalon Warzone map they've apparently been sitting on for years at this point. They tried doing this with the Modern Warfare 3 campaign, and it also sucked there too. And don't even get me started on them like wasting the original and I think pretty good Black Ops lore on whatever is going on here. It's such a shame. The core multiplayer is better, and we said that before you buy. Like, we found the multiplayer to be pretty decent, but that's only...
The thing about the multiplayer is, I'm gonna say it, it's a copy, paste, repeat system. It's gonna be good because copy, paste, repeat.
Only because they've reversed course so much. We've basically reversed course back to, like, Black Ops 2. All innovation in the series has kind of bled out since Modern Warfare reboot, and it's like 2012 all over again, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
That's a good thing.
But it does suggest that the Call of Duty developers you know, they're trying to figure out, they don't really know like where to take the series now.
That
All
is
they can
true.
do is attempt to recreate these past glories. Sure,
Absolutely.
it's higher definition, insane graphics, all that, but everything else,
that doesn't really matter when it comes to stuff like multiplayer stuff. This is my opinion. I've been probably I'm gonna be the person that's gonna eat a lot of shit because of this. I don't care about how pretty a game looks. I care about how a game runs. If it's smooth, if it's efficient. I mean, CS is not the best example, but Valorant's a good example of that, even though I really don't play that anymore. That's on me. Um, it's one of those core things. You gotta look at it for what it's valued at. It's gamers want games to look good when they're single players and they're about the experience. But when you're playing multiplayer, you just don't care. Like honestly, one game that has always had that kind of like allure is survival games. They can look pretty whilst being a multiplayer game because you're more open to exploration.
is worse. Part of that
My
probably
opinion.
comes down to the bizarrely rushed development timeline. According to the developers themselves, Black Ops 6 and 7 were greenlit at the same time. They try to present this as a positive, but even when they're selling this as something to get excited about, you can still see the cracks present. Like
That's
how
the
they
thing.
specifically mention wall running as an exciting new feature that'll appear in Black Ops 7. Guess what Black Ops 7 specifically doesn't have? You guessed it. Wall running ain't a thing in this game. And that campaign is where you can really see the struggles to get this game out the door.
Wow.
They try to justify how basic and empty everything is by making it a 4-player co-op campaign, but it's impossible not to notice just how slapped together
cool.
And not as like high quality.
But that's pretty cool, and that's
value.
it.
Like the whole thing just doesn't
Again,
feel
campaign
right.
modes
I
aren't
also just
about
think the game is in an interesting
friends.
spot because
It sounds weird, but
again,
it's not about
we
friends.
had this really.
You know what game did to co-op absolutely fantastic? Gears of War. If I can get people to play Gears of War with me, the original in co-op mode, dude, I'll do it
Big Black
anytime.
Ops 6
It
last
was
year,
legendary.
and then right away, it's just another Black Ops. We don't really technically get Black Ops games back to back. They space them out. They create a little more anticipation, a little hunger for the next flavor of a Call of Duty. Here, we got a Black Ops 6 and 7 right back to back. And the campaign stuff is rough because it was already kind of in rough shape. I mean, the story in Modern Warfare 3 was a mess, and that managed to feel like it completely torpedoed the reboot series and killed any interest in what could come next. With
it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good.
It's essentially a standalone story, so there's nothing much here to ruin other than your memories of Black Ops 2, which it just kind of attempts to desperately mine for nostalgia. There's only like one fairly memorable mission in the campaign. The one where you inexplicably play as 4 new characters and infiltrate this quantum computer facility in Japan. And even that is blatantly built from repurposed multiplayer maps, but still, it's kind of cool. The possibility of fun is here. I mean, the shooting still has the potential to satisfy. It always feels smooth, but the way that they built the campaign just feels like a slog from beginning to end. Like instead of the old days where they'd make interesting combat encounters, they just throw endless hordes of like dumber bullet sponge enemies at you to pad out the length of the campaign. It feels like it's not respecting your time. At 11 missions, it doesn't feel incomplete like Modern Warfare 3, but the whole experience just feels tedious. And I cannot overstate just how terrible the story really is. It's such a disappointment. It's something that we only kind of skimmed through in the Before You Buy video, but it is shocking just how many stupid and inexplicable things happen. I know there are some people out there
You're going in, Mr. Falcon.
Like battling a deep fake Menendez who summons giant machetes out of the sky. Audacious, but like it just feels cheap. And trust me, I love big dumb shit, but sometimes it just does not.
It almost feels like, I don't know if you guys played Mass Effect. Loved Mass Effect. The last mission where you faced like that big ass humanoid robot stuff, like they tried to like rip that shit off. Just don't. That was epic. This, nah.
Land if it's not done right. So much of the missions are made up of random assets floating in an impossible void where nothing happens and no story progresses, and it's all just, hey, remember this thing that happened in Black Ops 2? How about this thing? And they at least try to mix it up by doing an extended callback to Black Ops 1, which is something I already did in Black Ops 6, kind of. For some reason,
Oh yeah.
we get to return to Vorkuta not once, but twice in a row. They apparently made these games at the same time, and the developers, like, did they not talk to each other? You know the Asylum? You know the people that pump out those movies that are just, like, totally ridiculous? This feels like their version of a Call of Duty campaign. But not as fun as that even sounds. Like how they try to take refuge in Audacity by making stupid stuff like Sharknado. Treyarch and Raven, the developers here, feel like they're trying to justify this clearly rushed campaign by having you fight a giant Michael Rooker for some reason. Give him a ton of health, all that. It just feels like it pads the fight out. All of the fights, really.
Eats at me, dude. It eats at me right now.
It all feels so, like, mercenary, just, like, relentlessly done and hollow. Just like all the awful AI art that they used in the multiplayer stuff. It's especially bizarre because of how unnecessary it is. It's all just used for challenges and banners and player cards and stuff that they could easily just not exist.
The grind. Stop it, please.
There's no reason.
I don't want to be the guy that's just negative about this. Like, honestly, I don't want to be that guy. But when you look at these things, cringe, like actually cringe. Some business dude, and I'm gonna be very, very, very nasty right now. Some business dude thought it was a good idea, and we all know he was wrong. Sort of.
For this stuff to be here, but its existence just makes the game look cheap. A Call of Duty game shouldn't look cheap. And I think what adds insult to injury is like having to play through the campaign to get to access to, admittedly, a pretty fun endgame mode. Look, the core fan base, a lot of them have been frustrated with the state of the series for the past few years now, and it seems like those negative feelings are finally starting to seep into the mainstream a little bit. That's why we're seeing user reviews that are that bad. It's not because the entire game is just that terrible. It's not utterly unplayable. In total, it might actually be maybe a better package overall than Modern Warfare 3 for sure, but the negativity surrounding the game makes players just far less charitable toward it than usual, and I think that's a big thing. That's what's changing more so than the games themselves. The actual quality of the series is still pretty variable, but people are getting less and less willing to put up with the same old problems and dump full price yearly into it. Because for as many things as Black Ops 7, like, credit where credit's due, it does improve, like the overall slower speed in multiplayer.
Got the advantage. Now we have to keep it.
And the improvements made to zombie mode this year.
Oh, I love zombie mode. That is probably the one thing that I still want to play.
Like that boring, terrible campaign. The always online single player, which players mostly gave a pass to last year, is a major point of contention this time. Just the lack of AI partners when playing solo, the weird homogenized warzone-ification of all game modes outside of the standard multiplayer, the overall lack of innovation or new features other than a post-game mode that, again,
the thing they need to ask is, and this is valid criticism, I don't ever think Activision will ever see this, or Treyarch at least will ever see this. If you look at your game and you're going, hey, game, let's have a moment. I'm going to ask you a fair question. Would I want to play you? And then you can make a little line there and add any other game there. Dude, be fair. Do I want to play this game, or do I want to play even my own other games? Black Ops 6, Black Ops 2, Black Ops whatever, Modern Warfare 1, Modern Warfare 2. Do I want to play that or this? Stop running into it is new. People are getting over that shit. Like, I'm dead serious when I say this thing. You are seeing it in some reflection when it comes to like GPUs and those sort of things. People aren't just going and buying the latest and greatest anymore because the economy is not looking that good. I can contest. I don't want to buy the latest and greatest GPU. I do need to upgrade, sure. But with gaming, it's starting to become another thing. I don't want to spend buttloads for you guys, $69, $72. For me, it's going to be in RAM, which is like 400 RAM. Even Battlefield with Battlefield 6 is not that expensive. It's 1,200. They are willing to understand that people don't want to buy just for the latest and greatest. And the one thing they can do, and I'm saying this out loud, don't go and screw this up even more. Like really work on it.
Is
Really
kind of
work
decent,
on
but
it.
still feels cheap the way they put it in. It's a game with problems, but if the conversation around the series were in a more positive place, I think it would get more of a pass or a more constructive conversation around it. But again, in 2025, with two major competitors out there kind of offering different flavors.
Exactly like I said, go and say, do I want to play this or do I prefer playing operators? They're two different games. One is Extraction third-person shooter. The other one is Call of Duty. I would prefer to play operators. I'm dead serious. Looking at this, no, thank you.
For different types of.
And everyone feels the same. You need to ask these questions, even if it means saying no thank you to the development cycle. Like I don't even give a damn what a developer or excuse with this is. You are trying to convince people to spend money on something. Be fair.
Shooter players, and I think there was just some general disinterest by the fan base to returning to the near future setting of Black Ops 2 directly after getting another game in that same sub-series just a year earlier, means that people are not going to just accept what they're given this time around. So if you're looking at this video and the title, you want to know why Black Ops 7 is so mediocre or what went wrong with Black Ops 7, well, I think a lot of it comes down to the yearly release schedule. It is definitely a strain on development. They are cramming so many studios together, bashing them together to make these things every single year. There's fatigue on the.
Why not do a split? I know it sounds weird. What they're doing now is basically giving 2 years, 2 games for each studio. Why not give 1 year and 2 years to each studio?
Game maker side, and there's got to be fatigue on the player side as well. So what can we really take away from all this? Not much, really. I mean, Call of Duty will probably still be among the best-selling games of the year, like I said at the start. They'll probably continue to pump out these games after a year, and who knows? Maybe the next one will be better. We would love to see that. A real good return to form, or, maybe going back to the drawing board and coming out with something that really excites players, keeps them.
Absolutely. Guys, please don't forget to support the original channels that I watch. This is obviously Game Ranks. Please go support them. They're making fantastic videos. And yeah, I agree. I really actually agree with this. It's just, I don't know, dude. I really don't know. I'm tired of Call of Duty not listening. Anyway, guys,